ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون صدق الله العلي العظيم صلوا على محمد وآل محمد
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل.
For the love of Rasulullah صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. By the right and for the love of Fatima al-Zahra alayha salam صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. And the last one with the loudest voices, not only for the love but also for the safety of the Imam of our time, Imam Mahdi Ajul Faraj al-Sharif. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجه.
Respected brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Inshallah, today's discussion, we would like to touch upon something that's very, very, very important within our lives and that affects our lives in our everyday life. Breaking habits and building character. In order to break a habit, sometimes it takes 40 days, 70 days in order to build a habit. Yes? So when we build a habit, we have to do within 40 days. Majority of us, we try to build habits like this, but we see after 2, 3, 4 days we fail, then you'll be like, you know what? Allah, I surrender. I give up. We don't want to do it anymore. Or we find that it's too tiring. It's too exhausting. It's only 2, 3 days into it. It takes 40 days for a human being actually to build that habit. When we build these habits for us, sometimes we have to look within ourselves and we have to be honest within ourselves, not just the community. You know, sometimes they say, you know, we want to change communities, right? Some people have the intention, or majority of the people, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward them, they have the intention, they have great intention in changing the community. So what do? They try, they speak up, yes? And then no changes happen. You know what? One way to change the community, the best way of changing any community is every single person needs to focus on changing themselves. They need to be the change that they want to see in that specific community. So for example, if we want classes, yes, we want Quran classes. I shouldn't just say, you know what, I want Quran classes, you know, I go to the Maulana, why don't you open up Quran classes? I go to the Qari, why don't you open up Quran classes? Why don't you open, no. Let me now go ask them. Let me ask myself, why don't I open up a Quran class? Yes? When we look at the example of Nabi Nuh alayhi salam, right? When he was building the boats in the desert, you know, people were laughing at him. Like, what is this guy doing in the desert? Okay, at least if it's closer to the ocean, it will make sense. But he's building a boat in the middle of the desert. Does this make any sense? People were laughing. People were mocking him. Yes? Around 950 years, Nabi Nuh came to preach to the people. Now I just have 2, 3 days, 4 days, 1 month, I give up all of a sudden. What if I was the time doing Nabi Nuh alayhi salam? He tried preaching and preaching and preaching and preaching to the people. No one listened to him. Over 300 years he was preaching to the people. Now I'm not saying that we should compare ourselves to Nabiullah, obviously not. But they were there for an example for us to take. When we look at Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, sallallahu Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. What do we see? We saw that there are many Sahabas who lived amongst him, who saw him, who physically saw him and physically heard him. Saw him with their own two eyes and heard his speech with their own two ears. Yet, he wasn't able to guide everyone. So we shouldn't have this type of criteria that if I don't guide everyone, I'm not going to guide anyone. Yes? Even if we have one person present in that Quran class or in that class, whatever it is that we open, one person present, this is enough. We have succeeded. Right? Because what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say in Surah An-Naba? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna lil-muttaqina mafaza. Yes? Surely want salvation. If we want true salvation and true piety and the taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the blessings of the Aalulbayt alayhi salam, and if I want to continue on with the teachings of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, especially with the lessons that we learn through Karbala, because what do we know about Karbala? There were two camps. Yes, there was a camp that was on Haqq, and there was a camp that was on Batil. Now, just because this camp is on Batil, and majority of them were on Batil, did Imam Hussein be like, you know what, forget it, you guys don't need my guidance. I give up on you guys, let me just leave. Was that the case? No. So we need to keep pushing until we see the results that we like. Because I guarantee you, you're not going to see it the first year. Now, same thing like if we open up a business, ask any successful business owner, either within the community or anyone that you know. Ask them, was your business successful the first year that you opened? If anything, majority of them were probably in the negatives. Majority of the business within the first year, if anything, if they didn't break even, they were in the negatives. But when did it succeed? Or when did they start seeing it succeed? After what? After 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. This is when they start seeing an uprise. Some of them, within 10 years, they see their business succeeding. So this is the same way we should put our investments in Islam. Sallallahu Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Now, if someone has a bad behavior, doesn't mean that they necessarily stop it right away. Yes? Doesn't mean you stop, you quit cold turkey. No. You eventually stop it. Eventually cut it off. Eventually start doing good habits. The moment that's done, then you will see success. But if I just tell myself, you know what, today I'm going to quit smoking. I don't smoke, by the way. But I tell myself, and no offense to those people who smoke in the crowd. I'm not attacking you, so please. Right? I tell myself, you know what, I'm going to stop smoking today. So I stop cold turkey. We all know what happens if, right, our body is dependent on nicotine. Our mood starts to change. Our appetite starts to change. Our health starts to change. Yes? Why? Because my body is so used to the nicotine. So for example, if an individual smokes 10 cigarettes a day, what does she do? 9.5 the next day. Yes? Then 9. Yes? Then after that, go to 8.5. Then 8. See, here you're cutting down slowly. Why? Because you're slowly letting your body know that, listen, I want to cut down. You're communicating with your body. So when you do these physical things towards your body will eventually get used to it to the point that you will be smoking once a day. One cigarette a day, not one pack a day. One cigarette a day. Yes? And then eventually, inshallah, when Shahr Ramadan comes, khalas, you're not smoking anymore. Now you will see the change in your bank accounts. Why? Because I'm not spending this much on cigarettes. Now you can take that much that you spent on cigarettes and that amount and invest it in something that's very positive. Because sometimes what do we want? We want change to happen right away. But we don't want to change, you know. A lot of us want heaven, yes? A lot of us want to be millionaires and a lot of us want to be rich, yes? But listen, we cannot be rich and we cannot be millionaires if we do not put the work in. We cannot attain heaven if we do not put the work in. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran. He tells us in the Quran, if we want to see change, then we must be the change that we want to see. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not change a person's situation until the person themselves changes that situation for themselves. For example, in chapter 13, verse 11, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says the following: indeed, Allah does not change the condition of a person until they change what's within themselves. So if we want to see change in the community, we have to change, meaning individual, every single individual one of us, we have to change and we have to be the change that we want to see. Sallallahu Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Please, if we can I just ask the youth just to calm down a little bit. If so, please split up because it's very distracting. Thank you. Sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. There's a time for playing and then there's a time for listening. This is the time for listening, please. In the Kitab Makarim Akhlaq, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is known to have said, I was sent only to perfect the noble character. So our purpose and our mission isn't just to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. Rather, it is both worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and transforming ourselves to be of those with the best of character. Because Rasulullah was sent as a model for us. So we have to be that mirror of Rasulullah. So when anyone looks at us, they see the reflection of whom? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sallallahu Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala warns us many places in the Quran regarding repeating our sins over and over again. He says, then their end was evil because they denied the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In chapter 30, verse number 10. So here we have the sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We believe in the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes? Alif Lam Mim ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب. Yes? To believe in the unseen, it's part of the Islamic belief. So when we believe in the unseen and the seen, we have to put them together in order for us to follow on the correct path. For example, when we look at the events of Karbala, did any one of us witness what happened in Karbala? Any one of us witness what happened in Karbala? No. But how do we know What happened in Karbala actually happened. Through the riwayah, through the narrations, right? And through the preservation of the stories and the maqtal of Karbala, and through the authenticity of the preservations, through the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, we know the events of Karbala, even though it happened many years ago. Why? Because the people in Karbala, and now here I'm talking about the companions of Imam al-Hussein. These companions were the change that they wanted to see within the world. So if we become the change that we want to see, we will be amongst the helpers of Imam Mahdi, Ajal Farajum wa Sharif. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam has said in Najl al-Balagha, the soul becomes accustomed to what you make it accustomed to. The soul becomes accustomed, meaning becomes used to whatever the person makes it used to. So for example, if a person wakes up for Salat al-Fajr within a month and sets their alarm, right? 3:20, 3:40, they set their alarm. The month later, what's going to happen? Because their body knows that it needs to wake up at this time, automatically they'll wake up without the alarm. Automatically they'll wake up without the alarm, and sometimes they'll wake up 10 minutes or half an hour before the alarm. This is not the time for you to go back to sleep and wait for your alarm. No. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is calling you. Come pray Salat al-Layl. Come read Quran. Come speak to me privately before your Salat starts. Because when we do these things, we will see the relationships between us and Allah and the Ahlul Bayt will start to improve. And you will see how we will stop our bad habits. And our bad habits will end up breaking them. Why? Because now I have my priorities straight. My priority is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and not the people. And once my goal is the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I guarantee you, doors will open up, situations will open up, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be the one to solve your problems, any problems that you have. All this takes is breaking the habits and making new habits in order to improve our character. Sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
And I would like to end with this last riwayah by Imam Qadhim alayhi salam, where he says, he is not from us who does not take account of himself every day. So every day, let's try to be those who are from the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, and those who are amongst the lovers of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, and let us all hold ourselves accountable for whatever it is that we do. And then inshaAllah, with this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will prepare us to be amongst the armies of Imam al-Hujjah Ajal Farajum wa Sharif. Allahumma salli Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. Ya Ahadu ya Ahad, ya Samad ya Samad, ya man lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. بحق ياسين القرآن الحكيم وبحق طه القرآن العظيم، يا من يقدر حوائج السائلين، يا من يعلم في الضمير، يا منفسنا للمكروبين، يا مفرجنا للمهمومين، يا راحم الشيخ الكبير، يا رازق الطفل الصغير، يا من لا يحتاج إلى تفسير. صل على محمد وعلى محمد وافعل به. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار إنك على كل شيء قدير. صلوا على محمد وعلى محمد.